Works of pop culture aimed at younger audiences are usually created with the intention of highlighting a moral, conveying standards and values that are inevitably, at least in part, a reflection of the creator's values and the ideas present in the broader culture. Today, let's take a look at the Toy Story tetralogy, which perfectly illustrates the rapid progression of cultural changes and how a series produced by a single company can completely change the message directed at children within one generation. This episode contains spoilers from the Toy Story film series. The story that started it all in 1995 offers a clear message to young viewers. You don't have to be in the spotlight to feel needed and valuable. The film shows that Andy's toys live in fear of events like his birthdays because new toys could be the gifts, posing competition for their position as Andy's favorites. All the characters at the beginning of the story base their self-worth on Andy's attention. Woody the cowboy most clearly represents this perspective. He finds peace, happiness, and a sense of purpose in being Andy's favorite, which also defines his leading role in the toy community. He doesn't entertain the thought that Andy will change as he grows up, along with his interests. When the last birthday present turns out to be a new, attractive toy Buzz Lightyear, Woody becomes jealous and threatened. Buzz becomes popular among the toys, and Woody, driven by jealousy, tries to reclaim his position. He threatens Buzz by saying, "Stay away from Andy, he's mine," expressing a possessive attitude toward the boy and a relationship built on owning someone exclusively. In doing so, Woody also demonstrates his low self-esteem. Losing Andy's attention makes him feel like he's lost his dignity. The animation shows that such an approach leads to selfishness and cruelty in his attempt to push Buzz behind the dresser to regain his status. Woody accidentally puts Buzz in real danger, and he becomes an outcast among the other toys, becoming a partly negative character in the first half of the film. Initially, he goes to help Buzz only to win back the favor of the other toys. However, he eventually discovers freedom and happiness in allowing there to be room in Andy's heart for others as well. Stay true to who you are, and you will find value in that. Buzz Lightyear represents another problem. He derives his sense of worth from a specific image of himself. Despite numerous pieces of evidence that he is a toy, he stubbornly believes that he's a space hero, the way he was designed. He rationalizes this vision at every turn. He becomes a character manifesting an unhealthy detachment from reality, escaping into fantasies under the assumption that to be valuable, one must be extraordinary. When he realizes the truth, he breaks down. He is entirely unprepared to be anything less than his lofty expectations. Commonness and mediocrity seem like failure to him, and he sees no prospects in them, ultimately sinking into apathy and surrender. It is Woody who makes him realize that his value comes from the relationships he can build and the responsibilities that arise from them. He tells Buzz outright that it's better to be a toy than a guardian of the universe. He reveals to Buzz that even an ordinary toy can find a sense of purpose and worth in bringing happiness to a child through their presence and dedication. Not everyone you encounter will be good to you. You have the right to defend yourself and walk away. One of the first Toy Story's merits is that it doesn't sugarcoat reality. The animation clearly shows that not all children are good caretakers for toys. Sid, Andy's neighbor and the main antagonist, is a cruel and abusive owner. When Woody and Astral end up in his hands while trying to get back home, they don't give up. They have the right to defend themselves and try to escape. The story uses this as an opportunity to convey that it's not worth being someone's at any cost because not everyone deserves that. Selflessness and dedication in a relationship work when the other side reciprocates it. The entire narrative continues and develops in the next part. It's worth accepting that nothing is eternal. Toy Story 2 from 1999 shows that the fear of being abandoned by a child is understandable and not unfounded. At the beginning of the animation, the characters panic and turn off the TV to prevent anyone from hearing the toy store advertisement. Andy accidentally damages Woody and doesn't take him to summer camp, which plunges the cowboy into nightmares of being thrown away in the trash. At the same time, Woody's character continues to be built on the foundation established in the first film because the character has already overcome selfishness and is willing to take risks to protect the other toys. This leads him into the hands of a thief, and he learns that he was part of a set of toys and that there was a children's TV show about the Woody's Roundup gang. The cowboy begins to fantasize about his uniqueness and believes that sentimentality from collectors of old toys and being displayed in a museum will protect him from being forgotten and rejected. He is tempted to give up the opportunity to create a genuine relationship with the child in exchange for safety and being admired in a glass case. A living relationship, like the one with Andy, includes elements of risk, change, and unpredictability that Woody, engulfed in fear once again, cannot accept. This is exploited by the new antagonist, Stinky Pete, an unopened toy. The antagonist has never experienced closeness with a child. Without knowing this, he prefers to be an object admired through the glass of a museum display. He manipulates both Woody and Jessie, who has already experienced the trauma of abandonment once, treating them instrumentally because he needs them to achieve his own goals. This character illustrates the ultimate consequences of selfishness, which Woody overcame in the first film. Ultimately, the cowboy overcomes his fear once again, hearing the old recording of "You've Got a Friend in Me." He recalls what is most important in his life and invites the other toys to take the risk and return to Andy. He says to the traumatized Jessie, "In the end, it's just about one thing, making a child happy." This marks further character development. In the previous installment, he learned to share his happiness with others. In Toy Story 2, he accepted that happiness doesn't have to last forever. He sums it up with the words he speaks to Stinky Pete. "You're right, I can't stop Andy from growing up, but I wouldn't miss it for the world." Toy Story 3, from 2010, consistently continues the theme of the inevitability of time passing and changes ahead. It leads to what the toys had predicted among themselves in the previous films. Andy is going to college. He keeps his favorite toys out of sentiment, but he has outgrown playing with them. Woody and the rest of the gang try unsuccessfully to remind him of their presence. The film shows that Andy is going through an emotional developmental crisis. He awaits a new life in the dormitory, but something compels him to take Woody with him to remind him of his childhood. Meanwhile, due to a mix-up, the other toys end up in a trash bag. They don't believe Woody when he says they were supposed to end up in the attic and try to adapt to their new situation in a different way. They want to voluntarily go to a daycare center where they can fulfill their life's purpose, as outlined in the previous films. Thus, Toy Story 3 illustrates how difficult it can be for both sides of a relationship to allow it to naturally evolve in the direction time dictates. Meanwhile, another antagonist, Lotso the bear, becomes a character who, due to unresolved trauma of being accidentally abandoned and replaced, becomes selfish and a tyrant. Just like Pete in the second film, he views other toys instrumentally, using them to build his sense of security. His gang segregates them, turning the daycare into a prison where Buzz and the others end up in a room with younger children who play in a careless and unintentionally brutal manner. The antagonist also serves as an example of a character who doesn't take the opportunity when someone extends a hand to help. This is another example that Toy Story doesn't resort to black and white divisions and shows that reality can be nuanced and harsh. Lotso literally dooms the other toys to death, not offering them help in return for the kindness and forgiveness they showed him. Of course, everything ends well. The team is saved at the last moment, and, after all the adventures, finally returns home. At this point, Toy Story 3 takes the series to a point where its meaning and message reach their fullness, and the story could naturally end here. Andy considers giving the toys to someone who may need them more now. He hesitates, but ultimately decides to move forward, without clinging to old sentiments. Woody makes a similar decision. He consciously chooses not to go to college with Andy. Instead, he wants to be passed on to another child and see what the future holds. This way, the toys end up with Bonnie, gaining a new home and a new purpose that aligns with who they truly are. And the film tells us, changes can be hard, but they can be good. Let your loved ones grow. Don't waste new challenges and opportunities. You still have something to offer to others. If the Toy Story series had definitively ended at this point, we would have a trilogy that metaphorically explains the characteristics and challenges of real-world life. The toys symbolize specific problems that a living person can encounter. Such a closed trilogy would have been a friendly portrayal of themes like passing, separation, accepting one's nature and destiny, embracing inevitable changes, and discovering further expressions of the meaning of life, rather than reasons for despondency and despair. Even the background elements contribute to this message, as exemplified by Buster the dog, who in Toy Story 3 is exactly where he should be at this stage, old and tired. Through this, the film says to the young viewer, "I've aged, that's how it is. But don't be sad. The most important thing is that you'll remember me. No one can take that away from you." As a result, all three animations teach us courage in life, without fixation on its imperfections and inevitable end, for us and those we love. They convey that true fulfillment and a sense of purpose can be found in relationships with others and taking care of those who need you. However, the series did not end at this point. Less than a decade later, in 2019, Toy Story 4 was created, and its message can be expressed in the following slogans. The message from the previous films we come from was wrong. If a child no longer gives you enough attention and happiness, abandon them. Don't look at others and do what you desire because you and your dreams are the most important. And the fourth part, there is a drastic deconstruction in the symbolic layer. Toys are no longer just commentaries on selected human life problems and living carriers of the contexts of the real world, which they can naturally comment on with the help of their adventures this time. At times, they seem to literally play out the roles of people, and their decisions and dilemmas go beyond the possibilities of the previous metaphor on which the series was based. Even using the term, mine, in relation to children changes the context and mood of the relationship between toys and their owners, in contrast to what Woody had to work through in the first part, which was a relationship with the boy based on exclusive possession. Suddenly, in animated objects, the faces of people who are parents, going through divorces, pursuing dreams, escaping to a new, different life, entering new relationships, and strongly committed to individualism, begin to shimmer. This has its resonance even in the elusive nature of some jokes and gags. The plot of the fourth part initially fits into what its predecessors created. Woody tries to support Bonnie. He doesn't even mind if she creates a new toy Forky and gives it more attention. The most important thing for him is that Bonnie has help in dealing with her shyness at kindergarten. Later, however, Toy Story 4 finds itself at an ideological crossroads. It doesn't want to explicitly tell the audience that faithful devotion to loved ones is wrong and limiting. Most of the characters still want to pursue their life purpose. On the other hand, it uses the main character, Woody, to show that a relationship with a child and belonging to a family of toys is not enough. And it's worth aspiring to independence and something more. The embodiment of these desires is the character of the rebellious doll, Bo, who Woody has been in love with practically since the beginning of the series. On one hand, the cowboy involves her in a mission to rescue Forky, so he behaves as he always has. On the other hand, when he wants to keep trying after a failure, the toys urge him to give up and surrender. Among them is Buzz, a character who has represented honor and steadfastness in the series so far, a hero who in Toy Story 2 said, "Woody once saved my life. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try to save him now." When Bo asks Woody what motivates him not to give up, he presents it in response as a weakness and a bitter necessity, something that was a positive and clear motif until now. The desire to support Forky and Bonnie is, according to his words, simply all he has left. A motif that in previous parts meant hope and a sense of purpose suddenly becomes a tool in Toy Story 4 to show resignation and confusion, from which the character must be led out in the course of the plot. The desire to have a relationship with a child, which has driven our heroes so far, is motivated by the villain in this installment, a doll named Gabby who dreams of leaving the antique store and playing with children. In the end, Woody decides to leave Bonnie and separate from the rest of the toys to live on his own with Bo. At first glance, this represents a kind of nuance, but it actually contradicts the previous symbolic layer. As an audience, we are supposed to cheer for Woody, who does not accept being just a child's toy anymore and leaves in search of something more and exploring the world, whereas in the first installment, when Buzz stubbornly believed in being more than just a toy, the viewer was supposed to recognize this as naive and even dangerous. The cloth cowboy, by abandoning the life of a toy, goes beyond the possibilities of the previous metaphor of an animated doll and becomes a carrier of the idea of liberation from commitments, which in probably an unintentionally self-ironic way is explained in the animation by listening to the inner voice of conscience. The result is that Woody's character returns to the starting point being primarily driven by his own interests, and an attempt is made to present this to the audience as development in the right direction. In the previous parts of Toy Story, the nature of close relationships was simply their value and meaning. In the latest film, they are continually portrayed as conflicts of interest. The relationship that was previously shown as a source of meaning and fulfillment is now presented as something from which you should extract as much as possible for yourself, and which you should terminate when it no longer suits you. Within one generation, 24 years, the message we are serving to children has changed so much. In this context, it is worth asking ourselves, does the latest installment of the series suggest that all those who came before us were wrong, and we should forget what we recently taught children? Or is there a chance that we have lost our way and need to rediscover what was recently an obvious element of children's stories? Many thanks to our patrons who allow us to cover more controversial topics. If you don't want to miss any future episodes, please allow notifications.